everybody. Hope you guys have a great day today. I'm here with Andre. Andre, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How's your day going so far?
It's been great. Started out with a good walk and went to a goat farm today.
That's nice.
That's close, yeah.
Well, we have a busy day today, and I know you have time constraints, so we'll go ahead and get started. Just want to thank you for your time, and thank you for watching as well. So can you tell us a bit about who you are and what you do and what your background is?
Well, what am I? I guess I'm a husband, a father, a grandfather. I was born in Los Angeles. And in terms of background, I come from a family of businesses and entrepreneurship. And so it's been my bloodline for a very long time. Capped that off with a master's degree in business and also a master's degree in network mathematics. The background was in technology, program management.
Great. Can you tell me your definition of leadership?
Leadership, I like to use the analogy of the forest before the trees. So when you look at a group of people or a team, and they're looking at the trees, leadership is the person or the thing that actually looks above the trees to guide the team. So leadership is a way to direct a group for a common purpose. That's my definition.
I really like that analogy. It's very good. You would be the organization of yours is very natural. It's environmental. It integrates leadership. It's very interesting to me. In your experience, what are some misconceptions that people have about leadership?
Oh, misconceptions. I'm not sure if there's some misconceptions about leadership. The reason why I say that is because if we look at the family, right? In order to have a family, there's a husband and a wife, then there are children, right? And I think leadership starts in the home. And so I'm not sure about a misconception about leadership, because if there's no leadership within the family, then there might be some. So I'm not sure the misconceptions about it. But leadership starts at home. And I think that parlays into school life, it parlays into work life, it parlays into whatever activities you're doing. There's all this leadership is, for example, at least in America, there's only one president. In a city, there's only one mayor. At a corporation, there's only one CEO. And everyone within that structure is looking at one actual leader to actually create a vision that the masses follow, similar to home, school, and work. Misconceptions for me, I have never heard anyone talk about misconceptions of leadership. I've seen some, maybe possibly some lack of leadership, but not misconceptions.
Gotcha. And you said, what are some mistakes that some people do in an organization that kind of falls out of leadership?
So that's the question.
Can you tell us about what are some common mistakes that leadership?
One, I think, is not actually understanding or knowing I use this team concept, but not understanding that each member of the team take it for granted, right? And so I think that a lot of times leaders don't reach down to, let's say, well, when you're talking about leadership, I'm talking about corporations, reach down to that admin or that maintenance guy, or seem like they only want to deal with other leaders. And so there's always a leadership structure. So that there may be some challenges in terms of being able to know who your staff is. And one way I've seen other leaders do, even from the C class, is how they actually then, what we call it, walk the floor. Mm-hmm. When you walk the floor, it means you get a chance to engage, and you actually take off of the shield or the stripes, you call it, and you actually engage with others who may be in the maintenance group, who may be in the admin staff, or just maybe a senior manager or director. So.
Is that intention just to go to talk, or is it trying to build a relationship?
What was that first word?
Is that intention just to go to build a relationship, or are they there to make sure everyone's doing their job in the organization?
Both. So where I'm at now, I'm with a company called IBM, and when I did my research to see if I wanted to actually go on board with them, the first person I met with that engaged with me was the CEO. And then some of the other chiefs as well. And then I engaged with the security guards, I engaged with janitors, I interviewed them. So at least at IHP, you'd have access to the C class. The other company corporations like IBM or IBM in particular, we didn't have access to the C class, right? Because they were either remote or off doing something else to guide the corporation. But looking at the C class and being a company that actually gives you a little more energy, the reason why, because you're not just reading an email, you're not just reading something that someone said about the leadership, they're actually present. That's kind of weird.
How often does this kind of interaction happen? Is it once a day, once a quarter? How long is it happening? How long is it for?
Well, at this IHP, it's monthly, right? For example, during December, our CEO, once a month, he brings in a group that addresses the whole company. And this particular building is 2,500 employees. For Christmas time, he actually hosted a concert at work. And he also sung. He actually got it. He's very engaging. So I don't see it often. But his leadership style is a little different because what he said is that he's just a person just like everyone else. He just has a different title. So when you have that kind of ideal about your role, you don't put yourself above anyone else. It's just another team member. But a lot of people don't feel that way because he's the CEO.
Sounds like very good with that. I know you're a couple there to start too. Can you explain the importance of humility as a leader?
Oh man, it's very tough in terms of humility because there's different personalities. I work with a group, with a team, and sometimes those teams challenge you. If you know your team, if you know the personalities of your team, if you know how to address them. Recently, I was faced with a situation on Thursday where I came up with a suggestion. And I would say about maybe 40% of the team just did not really gravitate towards my idea of concept. Right? And so I was bringing up a new method of how we could be efficient in work. Someone else was actually taking over that project, and I was only offering a suggestion. The person was very passionate about the work we had already created, and I came in and said, well, I think we can do it another way. And the person got really upset because he had put so much work in. And in the meeting, someone said, well, let's at least allow Andre to demonstrate this new method. Yeah. By the end of the day, I considered that I am not going to bring forward this new way of doing something because the other person is so passionate and put so much time into it. I just backed away, really, because her to feel as if all the wrong that she did was for that. So I just gave up myself for her.
You once told me that you saw leadership or team culture as a top-down approach, meaning that team culture starts with the leader. I was wondering if you can explain that and what's the importance of it.
About team leadership?
How a leader starts the culture from a top-down approach.
Well, no, I was saying bottom up.
Bottom up, sorry.
Right, yeah, it's bottom up because I remember that conversation, and the analogy was a lot of times the admin has more, is one that can actually create a culture. Mm-hmm. Or it doesn't always have to be admin, but it could be someone that doesn't even have that title to do so. It could just be their natural ability. And then we talked about the top-down approach as well. I think you can't put top-down. What we're saying is really bottom-up. And it's just like that for anyone. I mean, we're in an election year, right? Yeah. And so it's not those who are at the top that's going to vote themselves in. It's the masses. Mm-hmm. Right, and those grassroots organizations, and so corporations are the same way. It's really those who are subject matter experts in what they do, and what they do may be very critical to the corporation, even though you don't have the high title, but you have a very major impact. So I look at culture as starting from the department. And by the way, even at ISP. They're getting ready to go through a culture change. Mm-hmm. New CEO comes in. Mm-hmm. He's going to bring forward what he is accustomed of seeing in terms of a corporation. Mm-hmm. And so we're bringing in consultants to go into each department to talk about culture and how culture has changed. Some people are what we call retired on the job. Mm-hmm. And you've heard that before? No, I haven't actually. Oh, yeah. Well, retired on the job means that you show up, but you're only doing the minimum work. You're just getting by, right? And so on Friday, I had introduced, I was trying to do something, this book called Who Moved My Cheese? Yeah, so I think it's probably 15 pages. And just talk about, those two mice, and they're in a room. Mm-hmm. They're in a room of cheese. Mm-hmm. But one mice says, you know what, I'm going to go out and explore other rooms because I don't think this cheese is going to last. So I'm going to go and find, our next best place. Mm-hmm. And going out and venturing out. So when you're active like that, that means not only are you growing, you really become a leader. Mm-hmm. And so that's in terms of changing culture. There has to be someone. A lot of times it's on the ground floor, management, top level. They're the ones who actually put the framework in. But again, it's the individual who is responsible for carrying their duties to parlay with the other departments, and then someone else move with as a group, not individually.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's I've been in a few organizations too, and it's establishing the right team culture is so important. Without it, work isn't as fun, or productivity decreases, or doesn't go in the right direction. So you definitely see what you mean by that.
Well, something else too about culture that probably the first time that I understood it was when during the 80s, when the 49ers, San Francisco 49ers were just dominating the league. Mm-hmm. And then it came out about how they hired the psychologists. Mm-hmm. And the psychologists would so let's just say a rookie coming from college going to the NFL, they take a test. So each NFL team will submit a test to see where you are in terms of your lifestyle and inventory. But the 49ers go a little bit farther. They want to ensure that any player that they're bringing in, if this player could have been an outstanding player in college or even from another team, they want to make sure that player blends in with the culture that 49ers have established. You could be a top-notch player if you don't fit well. like Jerome was. He wasn't the same guy that we found out about. He played for the 49ers and he got lucky, but then you can see where he became more focused on himself. He eventually traded him to the Philadelphia Eagles because he was a good fit. You can see the same thing with Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, has been with 5 teams in 5 years because of his attitude, right? He didn't blend in. He learned, get back to the Lakers, that it's not about him, right? He had to then fit in with the culture that the Lakers were doing.
Yeah, I was watching this YouTube Facebook Live recently, and they were saying that exact thing. One person, if they don't fit the culture, they can talk to the whole organization. You can actually ruin the whole organization. So that's pretty impactful.
Yeah, we call it cancer. Yeah, you have to root it out. And unfortunately for me, I've had to do that a lot. Not that much, but you give someone a chance, you document that. You really call it, you put them on a PIP, which is a performance improvement plan, just to give them a chance. And then if they can't get past that, then it's time to go because they're the cancer.
I know you've also touched on mentors. Can you describe the importance of having a mentor?
Oh wow, yeah. So in order to get to that stage as an individual, first you have to realize that you need to move, right? You move my cheese. And so if you want to, advance or just gain some work, let's call it a system, how method, how you do your work, you may want to look at, someone who can actually assist you. It doesn't even have to be someone above you, right? It could be someone who just, one is very solid, is responsible, that's committed, and they may have some skill sets that you want, and you can ask them, hey, I notice you do these things. Can you help me? And the helping part is the mentorship. But a mentorship is normally on the person who wants to be mentored. Right? They're the ones that have to then document what they're looking for and get from another person. A lot of corporations do have a system in place that allows employees to go into a mentorship program. So far, I haven't found that in recent ISP, but IBM and Kaiser and EMC have always realized those opportunities. And what really kind of brought it home for me was I have a cousin who's like a sister to me, and she asked me when I was at Kaiser, she says, do you know where you are on Kaiser's map? And I thought that was a great question. It's like you need to find out where you are and where you want to go on this map. And that led me to reach out to one of the senior vice presidents in the department that I wanted to work in, and schedule some time with him. I wanted to ask him to be my mentor. And he was really shocked. I mean, he's been at Kaiser over 20 years, but I was the first person ever to walk, to have an appointment, go into his office, and ask for him to be my mentor. And he did. It was really cool. I didn't go into his department, but just getting the insight and the knowledge of him and guiding me in these principles.
That's great. People say mentors are vital, but what are some...
You say vital?
Vital.
Vital, yeah.
Some people are scared of kind of reaching out. Do you have any advice for someone that's saying they see someone that's a big prospect, but they're kind of scared of doing so? What would you tell them so they can actually take that next step and actually get to that person?
Know thyself. Right? If you're first know who you are, because if you're going in there not knowing who you are, then how does the other person want to help you? You don't know who you are. I mean, when I say know thyself, is you have to, I call it, you have to have your fingers in the pulse of your life. Mm-hmm. You have to sometimes, maybe at the end of your day, or the end of your week, or the end of your month, reflect back on those things that you did in that day, that week, that month. And then don't lie to yourself about what you could have done better, right? of people, in terms of about humility, doesn't go through that process. If you think you already know it, then they're not going to go through the process. So what really helps is to know thyself, and know thyself again is really listen to that inner self. Go back and review that interaction you had, or with someone, or that thing that you were supposed to do, but you could never get around to. I really appreciate those who stick to their schedule, who have their routine, and that gives you a chance to really say, wow, I'm on this thread, and it's a thread that's leading me to the direction that I want. I live with someone like that. It's very organized, it's very structured. Hard to knock that person off their schedule. And when you try, then you said, that's very humbling. Maybe I should do the same thing. Someone who has a schedule book that then writes little notes or post-its and put them on the dashboard of their car. Those things, I'm not to that level yet, but I want to be. So that kind of goes back to mentorship. Still, you have to want to know thyself, and then where there are gaps and where you're trying to be, then you just need someone who can actually fill those gaps because they're doing it in their own life. So,
great stuff so far. So we're about to wrap up soon. Next things I'm going to ask you are the same three questions I ask all my guests. First one is, how has leadership evolved over the years?
How has leadership?
Yeah.
How the United States was formed, that was due to a small group with a great purpose, with a great structure. Some of the systems they put in place that hasn't changed in hundreds of years. You can see what situation we're in today, right? I think that our current leader, right, is on one hand is doing some good things, on the other hand doing some terrible things in terms of setting us back, in terms of relationships with communities, individuals, groups. It seems as if our today leader in America does not bring us together, it's dividing us, right? So how has it advanced or evolved? I don't know. When I look at it globally, in certain areas we've gone backwards. In other areas they've progressed. There was a time when we were thinking about moving to Costa Rica. We wanted to retire in Costa Rica. And one of the reasons for that is because the president at the time valued their citizens to the point to where they wanted to ensure that all their citizens had education, had a path to employment, have the basic necessities. Now, so that was Costa Rica. But then 3 years later, that person was out of office because they had some corruptions, right? So, I have not yet, found a leader. No one's perfect. FDR, did a lot for America, especially during World War II. But FDR didn't even reach out to some of the Olympians coming back from Germany. He didn't give them a letter. He didn't let them come to the White House just because of the color of their skin. And so, he was a great leader. When it was wartime, yes, he got us out. It was because of him that we had Social Security now, right? We have a workforce. But then, there's no perfect leader. But when you fail to be the country of humans, it has to be equal. And so I have not yet found a leader. I think President Obama was fair in that, but he's very cautious because being the first Black president, we were all afraid that he might be assassinated. I think he played it a little. He wasn't as out front as he should have been, but I understand. I think he could have done a lot more, but this country is not led by fair people. So another thing, in terms of the individual rights, we have the Bill of Rights, rights, give you rights to do certain things. And so I don't really agree with leaders that try to tell women that they can't, there's certain things they can't do in their own bodies. I'm not in favor of that. So, good question. I'm not sure if we've evolved to the point where we went back to the Roman days. I think I still see some of that today. So, I don't think it's where I would like leadership from a political standpoint.
How, from a business standpoint, let's say this United States?
Well, I was talking a lot about the United States. For corporations, back in 2002, the federal government, I was working for a company, it was called the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. And the reason why our government said, hey, you know what, every CEO has to sign off on their financial statements. Before they didn't have to do that. And it was about accountability. And so the reason for that is because, there's money that's being siphoned off. And so I'm not trying to paint a nasty picture about business, but there's certain things that we're all human, we all fail, and certain things we're all succeed at certain things. But overall, we need business to do business. We need business to survive. But the cool part about it is that similarly what we're doing is that we want to take control of our own destiny, financially and health-wise, family-wise, so that we can actually, live and develop an environment. I've always wanted to have my own government. I've always wanted to have my own island where I have citizens that would be just like that president in Costa Rica, but actually be the person that can actually help a group of people. I'm not saying they were my citizens, but I thought it would probably be best to create my own country. That sounds a little far out. But
it's nice to dream big, right?
Heck yeah, dream big, go home.
Let's say you have a niece or nephew that's about, let's say, somewhere between 5 to 10.
Niece and nephew?
Yeah, and they ask you, well, Andre, what should I do now to become the best that I can be for the future? What would you tell them?
So what can it be?
What should I do now to develop myself as big so I can be the best that I can be?
Discipline. And since they're young, we'll start with, the household, right? And those lessons that you learn as a child from your parents, or from your aunts or uncles, from your elders, right? I think that would be the first one. And I think I mentioned earlier in terms of your routines. Just because you're young doesn't mean you can't have a routine. A lot of times the youth do have a routine. They get up, they get breakfast, they get dressed, they go off to school, they do what they do at school, they have some little activities, they come back home. That's a routine. And a routine is very important. And so I would say to nieces and nephews is that, one, know thyself, establish routine, dream big, get a mentor, and become a leader.
Wow, that's some great stuff right there. And last question for the night. What's your favorite leadership book?
Execute.
Who's it by?
Tom Bossity. But Execute is great because Execute, he talks about, he's a CEO and he has a lot of senior vice presidents. And every year they have to create a plan in the beginning of the year to reach whatever the 3-year or 5-year goals are, right? And in the book, execution is important, no doubt, but there's a lot of planning that goes into it. Planning counts, but to plan and not execute is not getting it done. And so that's what it's about, execution. And I like that. I use it a lot when I'm engaging, is that we have to execute, whether it's sports, whether it's life, whether, when I say life, home life, but execution. So it's called execute.
Oh, I'll definitely take a look at that book.
As a matter of fact, too, it was when I hired on with this company, as I was walking through some of the cubicles, I found 4 people in the company that have that book.
Wow.
I know.
Nice. That's great.
I know.
Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I know I certainly have. I've definitely learned a lot, and about history as well. Again, Andre, thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you.
See you next time. Take care, guys.